What was the Jingnan Campaign, and why was it an important moment in China's historic past? The Jingnan Campaign, also referred to as the Campaign to Clear Away Disorders, a propagandistic term used by the victorious side to describe the civil war that took place between 1399 and 1402 during the Ming dynasty. The conflict that erupted was between the Ming government, led at that time by the second Ming Emperor, the Jianwen Emperor, and his uncle, Zhu Di, the Prince of Yan. The war began due to the removal of the emperor's uncles and Zhu Di's power being restricted by the central government after the Jianwen Emperor ascended to the throne in 1398. In 1399, Zhu Di led a rebellion under the guise of restoring order and the rights of the princes. After 3 years of fighting, in June 1402, he successfully conquered the then capital of Nanjing, with the emperor, his family, and several courtiers killed within the fire that engulfed the royal palace, thus ending the war. Soon after the death of the Jianwen Emperor, Zhu Di ascended to the throne as the Ming dynasty's third emperor. On assuming power, he made every effort possible to erase the legacy of his predecessor by removing the Jianwen Emperor's supporters from positions of authority and reversing any of his reforms. Despite his initially rebelling in the name of protecting the rights of the princes, once in control, Zhu Di adopted a similar oppressive stance against the other princes, just as the Jianwen Emperor had done, gradually stripping them of their political influence. Road to war. After the Hongwu Emperor died in 1398, his grandson, Xu Yunwen, ascended to the throne as the Ming dynasty's second emperor. He had become the heir apparent at the age of 15 in 1392, following the death of his father, Xu Biao, the oldest son of the Hongwu Emperor. Inheriting his father's moderate character, the new emperor expressed the style and goals of his government by choosing his imperial name of Jianwen, which means the establishment of civil virtue. Instead of relying on generals and princes from the imperial family, he chose his government to be full of Confucian scholars. His closest advisors were idealistic scholars committed to reform but lacking any practical experience in actually managing the country. The Jianwen Emperor ascended to the throne at the age of just 21, much younger than his uncles, who were the sons of the Hongwu Emperor. Those uncles had been granted the titles of princes in addition to being each given a significant income by their father. They were stationed in various provinces with a personal guard of between 3,000 and 15,000 men at their disposal. However, the new government under the Jianwen Emperor sought to limit their power. Known as reducing the feudatories, or Shu Fan, was advocated by Jianwen's chief advisors Qi Tai and Huang Zicheng, who cited past occurrences as the rebellion of the Seven States during the Han Dynasty. The result of these new policies meant the princes were prohibited from participating in public affairs. In 1398 through to 1399, several of the Jianwen Emperor's uncles were removed from their positions through actual and perceived crimes. They were either exiled, placed under house arrest, or forced to commit suicide. The prince that offered the greatest threat to the Jianwen Emperor was Zhu Di, the Prince of Yan, the oldest and most influential of the Hongwu Emperor's sons. Zhu Di was based in what is now Beijing, at that time known as Yan, and during their campaigns against the Mongols, he had proved himself to be a capable military leader. After not being named a successor to the role of emperor, he felt he was unjustly neglected. Prince of Yan's rebellion. The government was cautious towards the way it handled Zhu Di. This caution enabled the prince to prepare and gather his forces. Zhu Di refrained from openly hostile action because his three sons were residing at the royal court in Nanjing since the funeral of the Hongwu Emperor, effectively held as hostages. Zhu Di requested his sons be returned to him. Qi Tai advised they be kept as bargaining tools. However, Huang Zicheng convinced the emperor that allowing the sons to return to their father would help calm the situation. In June 1399, the emperor made what would turn out to be a costly mistake in allowing the sons to return to their father. Shortly after their return, war erupted. The immediate cause was put down to two of Zhu Di's lower officials being arrested on the 6th of August for alleged subversive activity. In response, Zhu Di took control of Beijing and its surrounding counties and prefectures. 3 days later, his soldiers occupied the Juyong Pass to the northwest of the city. They also defeated and killed General Song Zhong as he and his army attempted to advance from Kaiping. Zhu Di justified these movements by claiming he was punishing treacherous court officials, calling it the Jingnan Campaign to clear away disorder. In letters written to the royal court in August and December 1399, he claimed he had taken this action to put an end to public disorder and to uphold the Hongwu Emperor's statutes and laws, defining the duties of princes, and he was operating out of respect for his late father. He further accused the new emperor and his entourage of withholding information about his father's illness and preventing him from attending the funeral. He then accused them of persecuting the princes when falsely accusing them of planning an uprising. He then further claimed his actions were a reasonable form of self-defense, not directed at the emperor but at his treacherous and criminal ministers. Zhu Di further asserted that he had no desire to take the throne, but as the oldest living son of the deceased emperor and Empress Ma, he was obliged to restore the law and legality that had been subverted by the new government. Civil War. The war officially began in August 1399 when the emperor appointed Marquis Gung Bingwen to suppress the rebellion. After a defeat at Jiangding to the southwest of Beijing with heavy losses, he was replaced by General Li Jinglong. Instead of going on the offensive, Li waited for further reinforcements to crush the enemy with superior numbers. In mid-October, Zhu Di left the city to gather more recruits for his cause, leaving Beijing under the control of his oldest son, Zhu Gaoqi. Li Jingling saw this as an opportunity and marched on Beijing, besieging the city on the 12th of November. Meanwhile, having secured 3 guard units of Mongol cavalry, giving him an army of 80,000, Zhu Di returned to Beijing and on the 2nd of December attacked the camp of Li Jingling, while Zhu Gaoqi led an attack from the besieged city. The government army, suffering from the combination of the sudden attack and the cold, retreated to Zhending, then to Dezhou in Shandong. In December 1399, Zhu Di issued another proclamation accusing Qi Tai and Huang Zicheng of crimes. They were removed from office by the emperor but continued to be consulted over affairs of state. During the year 1400, several battles saw the initiative swing back and forth before Li Jinglong was replaced by Sheng Yong as the new commander-in-chief of the fight against the rebel forces, while Tia Xuan was appointed Minister of War. Meanwhile, Zhu Di, using information acquired from eunuchs in Nanjing, focused on a war of attrition, sending his soldiers on raids to disrupt communications and destroy enemy supplies. On the 9th and 10th of January 1401, the government's army successfully defeated Zhu Di's rebels at Dongchang on the Grand Canal, where thousands of rebel soldiers were killed. with Zhu Di narrowly avoiding capture by the cavalry of Ping An. After resurgent rebel victories further south, the emperor appointed Ru Chang as the leader of the peace party along with Li Jinglong. Ru and Li proposed peace talks with Zhu Di, but these were rejected by the rebel leader. Zhu Di launched a new offensive in mid-January 1402, choosing not to advance through the fortified cities along the Grand Canal, instead heading further to the west where the government forces were less heavily defended. Within 1 month he had captured several government strongholds. Xu Huizhu, the oldest son of Xu Da, was sent to strengthen the government's defences, but he was unable to stop the rebels' advance. By the 3rd of March, the rebels were in control of Xuzhou in today's Jiangsu province before taking Suzhou in northern Anhui the following month. Yangzhou fell on the 17th of June, although the government had a temporary success when the rebel advance was halted at the Yangtze River on July the 1st by Sheng Yong's fleet. However, crossing the Yangtze became less of a problem when fleet commander Chen Chuan defected to the rebels 2 days later, allowing for an easy crossing of the river and an open passage to Nanjing. With 200,000 soldiers protecting the city and its surrounding areas, Zhu Di led a cautionary approach on the heavily fortified city. However, the emperor's entourage was divided. Qi Tai and Huang Zicheng were once again in favor of the emperor, advocated for the city to be defended at all costs, while Li Jinglong and Ru Chang were in favor of negotiating. On the 9th of July, Li and Zhu Hui, the 17th son of the Hongwu Emperor, was sent by the emperor to negotiate for peace. However, they returned with the news that Zhu Di had refused to talk to them. On the 13th of July, Li Jinglong and Zhu Hui were in charge of defending Nanjing's Jinchuan Gate. They inexplicably opened the gates to the rebels. The information that they had not met with Zhu Di was incorrect, as a secret deal had been organized. With the rebels entering the city unopposed, the imperial palace was set ablaze. Once the flames had been extinguished, among the charred bodies were those of the emperor, the empress, and their oldest son. Aftermath. On the 17th of July, Zhu Di became the Yongle Emperor, denying the legitimacy of his late nephew, overthrowing his reforms, even attempting to erase all traces of his nephew from history. He retroactively abolished the Jianwen era, extending the Hongwu era up to 1402. Government archives, with the exception of financial and military documents, were burned. A large-scale purge of state administration took place, which included many of the Jianwen Emperor's closest followers facing their demise. One such case was that of Fang Xiaoru, who had been promised no harm would befall him. After the capture of Nanjing, Fang was paraded and offered a position in the civil service. Fang, however, accused Zhu Di of rebellion and demanded the installation of the Jianwen Emperor's surviving son as emperor. Fang was ordered to write a proclamation announcing he recognized Zhu Di as the new emperor, but Fang refused, stating he would rather die than serve a usurper. Fang was seen as a loyal servant who remained faithful to the emperor under all circumstances. Liu Jing is another example, an official who refused to serve the new regime. He pointed out to the new emperor that even after 100 generations, Zhu Di would still be known as a usurper. For his unwavering views, Liu saw out the remainder of his days in prison. Qi Tai and other followers of the Jianwen Emperor were executed, along with many members of their families, as were teachers, students, and supporters. Others were imprisoned or deported to the border. This widespread purge impacted tens of thousands of people. The younger emperor justified his role in the rebellion by claiming to defend the rights of the princes. However, after taking the throne and restoring the titles of some princes, he did not grant them the same power they previously held, even later in his reign, treating the princes in the same manner as the Jianwen Emperor, whom he condemned. He accused his brothers of criminal acts, punishing them accordingly, and by the end of his reign, the princes had all but lost their political significance. This brings us to the end of this video, highlighting a historical era that has helped shape China today. If you've enjoyed watching and it's shown you a little detail of life of events here in China, then your subscribing to my channel would mean a lot to me. Thank you for watching. Make sure you click on the link to the next video, and until the next time, goodbye for now.